Siblings are incredible and skiing is a lot of fun if you're able to do it. This past week, normal work week, Butler, high school basketball, and another random event thrown in there. Kind of what I'd expect from a week in the life of me, but I finished the week with a trip with my sister to Michigan to go skiing. It was very much fun. Skiing is definitely one of my favorite hobbies. I first went skiing probably when I was age 14, 15 maybe. My cousins that live in Michigan, we went and visited them and we went skiing, and I hated it. Since my work week was somewhat normal and I finished it off by going skiing, I figured I don't have much to talk about this week, so I may as well just talk about skiing. And I'm going to talk briefly about kind of the history of skiing and how it became what it is today. So skiing is very, very old, dates back centuries ago to about anywhere from 8,000 to 6,000 BC. Surprise, surprise, it stemmed from a northern region of now modern Northern Europe in Norway, Finland, Sweden, obviously in the north area up there. And it was originally mainly used not for funsies, not for a fun weekend with the boys, but for survival. Of course, as it seems like most inventions way back in the day were used, or the biggest reason to invent something was often survival, and that's what skis were used for. There were some depictions on old carving walls or old rock carvings in caves, depicting people on skis with bows shooting at large animals. Now, I'm kind of just following an article on the internet, but there is this insane story that is an incredibly good and inspiring application of the ski. So, obviously, skis were mainly used in the Nordic areas where there's lots of snow, and as we've gotten more modern, we started to fight more and had much bigger wars. During a Norwegian Civil War in about the 1200s, there was a military unit called the Birkebeiner, I believe is how you say it. Birkebeiner. They're a military ski unit. So during the Civil War, they had to ski an heir to the throne, Håkon, and they had to ski him across the country, a little baby 2-year-old Håkon, up and down mountains, across a mountain range to get him to the throne or to the castle or to safety. Pretty insane. Gotta be I would hope a film on that, of a military ski unit carrying a 2-year-old baby through the cold, snowy, dreary winter, up and down mountain valleys, surely probably through battle at some point or another. And all the while, the baby is strapped to a bearded man's chest as they venture through the cold Norwegian wilderness during a civil war. There's gotta be a movie on that for sure. Oh, that was 1200 AD, apologies, not BC, 1200 AD. So as we get into more modern times, skis again keep getting more modernized with the times. They're used for hunting, but also they're used for travel now, used to cover flat ground. It was never really alpine skiing, it was more of cross-country skiing. Up until about the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, where the idea of skiing being something more than just something for survival and hunting started to sneak into people's brains. People started to use them for a little bit more fun, and they also discovered the thrill of alpine skiing. Well, a little later they did, but in the 1600s, the 1800s, people started to think of skiing bigger than just hunting and survival. The Great Northern War during the 1700s between Russia and Norway and I believe Sweden was fought mainly on skis. It's pretty wild to think of shooting a gun while grinding on skis, although there is the Nordic races, but whatever. Skiing popularity continued to grow in the Nordic areas in the 1700s and 1800s, really when it started to grow as a sport. In the 1800s, there was the first ski resorts came to America. As I was reading this article, this is where I realized that we, America, really are the best at sports by far. Skiing had been in the Nordic areas for thousands of years. And it came to America, and we only needed it for 100 or so years to turn it into a major modern sport, and also even invent a major innovation in the sport, the chairlift, which makes skiing infinitely more repeatable. It wasn't until the 1900s where we started putting metal and other materials on skis other than just wood, and this really kind of was another step forward in the modernization of skis and the improvisation, the improving of the quality of the ski and the quality of the skiing experience. In the 1920s, the first Winter Olympics were held in Chamonix, France on Mont Blanc. That's a mountain I do know of. Yeah, big step. In the 1950s, metal skis really popped into the market, especially aluminum skis. They were really all the craze at that point. And then in the 1960s, plastic boots followed. It's crazy to think that before the 1960s, people were just using leather boots that were strapped in at the ankle and just slid down the hill. I wonder what the constraints or restraints on old skis were. They had to be pretty horrendous. There'd be a lot of destroyed ankles back in the day, I'd imagine. Gotta be terrible. Yeah, and then we get into the 1900s, and it's really kind of the skiing we know now today. America pushed it farther with plenty of innovations and making it a much more modernized sport. And well, the Olympics really brought it to the overall stage, I would say, probably. But we kind of helped push it forward a lot of ways and really picked up the speed with the development of skiing and creating some movies in the 60s and 70s that really helped to grow the popularity of skiing and really kind of created the modern sort of ski resort idea that we know of today and that I personally enjoy very much. It's unfortunately still pretty expensive, but if you have the means and you have the time, I would highly suggest skiing. It's got to be one of my favorite ways to spend time. And actually, since I've gotten back from this ski trip, I've kind of been I had like almost like a mental breakdown yesterday. I was panicked when I got back for no reason, nothing really to panic over, but I don't know if going to skiing and then coming back just reminded me about all the things that I've been planning to do for so long and just haven't done. But it light this sort of awkward fire underneath me, and that's why I addressed finally my taxes and sort of took a step on getting a therapist and just got some things to do. I said in the beginning of January I wanted to get a therapist and this would be a year of growth, but it's now February 20th and I feel like I haven't done that much. I've worked a lot, but like beyond that, I haven't done a lot for my own personal growth other than play a little bit of basketball, which is what I'm probably gonna go do now. But yeah, I love skiing very much. It always gives me a time to think, a time to separate, time to focus on just one thing and one thing only and not really worry about anything else that's going on. I try to touch my phone as little as possible. It was just a blessed weekend. I'm thankful my sister invited me. Yeah, if you can go skiing, go do it. I understand if you can't. I don't know what I'm saying. That has been all for this week's episode. Thank you very much for watching. I've been your host, Matthew Stein. You've been fantastic as always. And I'll see you next week when we talk about Lexington, and I'm going to get paid pretty well for that event, so no more stress on that, although I still could be doing the top 25 game, but yada, yada, yada. See you next time.